Okay, I'd say it's 6 o'clock, and if we could all stand. Ed, please, I would like you to start with the pledge, since this will be your last time that you can start.
Okay, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please stay standing. Dear Lord, now tonight, please guide us with all your wisdom. Guide the audience and this board. In the Lord's name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Okay, well, welcome to the Addison Township Board meeting. Today's October 17th, and we're located here at 1440 Rochester Road. And we will start the meeting now. Could we have roll call, please?
Yes, Ed Brakefield.
Here.
Linda Garrick.
Present.
Eric Sant. John Beamer. Both are excused. Lori Fisher.
Present.
Bennett present. Supervisor Pearson.
Here. Okay. Announcements. Well, I got a lot of announcements.
Yes, you do.
Which one would we like to start out with?
Can we
This?
start with
Well,
Bob's?
I do have one announcement, and this is directed to Ed Brakefield. This came from Robert Davis, our attorney, and it's hot off the press. The ink is still wet. And it says, reference to Ed Brakefield. Mr. Brakefield, as you know, I am paid by the word, so I will be brief. Okay? It is difficult to frame the words that define your wisdom and continued dedication to the township. As legal counsel, you contributed to decisions and policy directions that made my role easier and easier. Many thanks to you. The township is lucky to have you. The township will miss your dedicated service and the wealth of knowledge buried behind your perfected public smile. Let's see it. Okay. Your calm and reasonable approach was always based on strength, knowledge, and your overriding love for the well-being of the township. I always appreciated your input. I always trusted your recall. I always benefited from your patience. Now, on a serious note, please consider this a promise. As embarrassing as it was, you always had the strength to sit among men, good men and women, and without blinking order a fuzzy navel. And I was a witness to that. In the heightened politically correct world, I cannot pass judgment or offer comment. However, the promise is clear. You call me, text me, wire me, or send me a flare, and I will always come around to buy you a round of fuzzy navels. You are the best. Your friend, Robert Davis.
Means a lot to me. This is good. Thank you. Will you tell him thank you for me?
Louis will not be the same without you, without those fuzzy navels.
I will be calling him every...
There's another surprise from Bob, but that's later. This was John's.
Okay. I'm going to read this as a certificate of excellence. This is for John Beamer. Unfortunately, he, I believe, is out of town with his work.
That's nice.
This, I'm going to read this. It says, certificate of excellence, whereas the Township of Addison recognizes the many years of service that trustee John Beamer dedicated to the Township of Addison, 8 years as a trustee on the board and 10 years serving on the Zoning Board of Appeals, and whereas the Township of Addison recognizes trustee John Beamer not only for his service on the Zoning Board of Appeals and the Township Board, but the many community outreach programs for the parks and its trails, county road improvements, and whereas the Township of Addison recognizes that the hours of dedication of service to the community often remained unnoticed as a public servant serves, not for the glory, but for the betterment of the community, as did trustee John Beamer. And whereas the township recognizes that trustee John Beamer did not sit on boards, but was a man of action. John's insight to the issues at hand were most welcomed and thought-provoking. And whereas the Township of Addison appreciates trustee John Beamer's forward thinking, the ability to get things done, always prepared, being a part of this team that moved the new facility, the parks, road improvements within the township, and always available to our residents listening to their concerns. Now be it resolved, the Township of Addison proclaims its gratitude and presents this certificate of excellence for the outstanding services of trustee John Beamer. A very grateful township wishes John and his family much happiness in his retirement. And it says, on behalf of the Township Board, and signature of the Township Supervisor. But I thought you might want to see that.
It's really nice. Well done.
Good job.
We have another one. This one is another certificate of excellence, and this is for Ed Brakefield. Whereas the Township of Addison recognizes the many years of service that trustee Ed Brakefield dedicated to the Township of Addison, 20 years as a trustee of the board and 20 years as a planning commissioner. And whereas the Township of Addison recognizes trustee Ed Brakefield not only for his service on the Township Board and the Planning Commission, but also the many outreach organizations such as the Pollyant Trail that he so graciously served with his knowledge. And whereas the Township of Addison recognizes Ed Brakefield's service to God by opening with prayer at each Township Board meeting. Whereas the Township of Addison recognizes that the hours of dedication of service to the community often remain unnoticed as a public servant serves not for glory but for the betterment of the community, as did trustee Ed Brakefield. And whereas the Township recognizes that trustee Ed Brakefield did not sit on boards but was a man of action also. And whereas the Township of Addison appreciate trustee Ed Brakefield's forward thinking, the ability to get things done, always being prepared, being a part of this team that moved the new facility, the parks, the natural gas within the township, and always available to our residents listening to their concerns. Now be it resolved, the Township of Addison proclaims its gratitude and presents this certificate of excellence for the outstanding services of trustee Ed Brakefield, and a very grateful township wishes Ed and his family much happiness in his retirement. On behalf of the Township Board, and I also sign this.
Thank you so
And I
much.
would like to present this to you, but we need to everybody see it. And I would like to say another word. When I came to become the Township Supervisor, I was brand new. Ed, as you know, was on for many years. And as a personal note, I would like to thank him very much for getting me up to speed and getting me to the point where the whole township could progress. Ed was very instrumental in that, and without his help and support, I would have been probably floundering for a long time. But it's men like Ed that make townships better, because they're there to bring the new people on and continue the betterment of the township. So thank you very much, Ed.
You're very, very welcome, everyone. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, do we have any other announcements?
No.
Okay, how about petitions?
None.
Department reports. Ed, do you have a department report or anything?
I
Nothing?
do not.
Order of business, approval of the agenda.
Move to approve as presented.
Support.
Any questions from the board? Okay, could we have roll call on that, please?
Ed Brakefield.
Yes?
Linda Garrick.
Yes.
Lori Fisher.
Yes.
Bennett, yes. Supervisor Pearson.
Yes. Okay, let's move on to the consent agenda.
Before the board are the August minutes, the bills as paid for August and September 2016, the appointments, and also confirmation of the resolution dated 8/2/14 to repay back the loan with the excess funding.
Okay, any questions from the board?
2 or 8/18?
8/18?
Yeah.
Oh, 2/16. 2/14.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as written.
Do we have a second?
I'll support.
Any comments? Not hearing any, could we have roll call on that, please?
Ed Brakefield.
Yes?
Linda Garrick.
Yes.
Bennett, yes. Lori Fisher.
Yes.
Supervisor Pearson.
Yes. Okay, we'll move on to item number 2, public hearing and board authorization to reprogram the CDBG 2013, 2014, 2015 program year funds. Addison Township was informed from the county that we were required to reprogram the funds for the program years of 2013, 14, and 15. The public notice is before you, and I suggested the programs that would benefit the township for mobile home repair, and also assisted others by programming some of it to Haven and the county home improvement program. This is a public hearing. The board doesn't talk during this time. This is where if anybody from the public wishes to speak, they can come forward and speak. So this is the public hearing, and I would like to open up the public hearing at, we'll call it 6:10 p.m. If anybody has anything to say about the reprogramming, please come forward and we'll listen. If anybody has anything to say about the CDBG funds, please come forward. Not hearing any. And I'd like to close the hearing at 6:11 p.m. I'll leave this up to the board now for discussion. If anybody has anything they'd like to discuss.
I would.
Yes.
I think it's very well planned out, laid out for this council, and I know normally in the past, we would always wait for 1 month after a public hearing, but I think it looks like well enough. If it's okay with the supervisor and this board, can we just move forward with it?
I don't think the resolution was written.
Do we have to have 2 hearings on this or just one?
No, it's only required to have one, and CDBG is expecting action tonight, so Mr. Brakefield is correct that we should move forward with this.
So is that your motion to move forward?
Yes.
Do we have a second?
I'll support it.
I would need to add to my motion then, resolution to be written and signed by the supervisor.
They didn't require a resolution because it's reprogramming, so if we just make a motion to accept the reprogramming for 213, 14, and 15 as written in the public notice, that will satisfy their
Then I'll
requirements.
hold my motion the way I said it.
Oh, that's good then.
Okay, so we had a motion and a second.
Resolution for those, I'm sorry.
No, they told me no, so I thought.
That's
okay.
my 20 years of experience.
That's right, we're gonna miss you.
He's got a
See,
plaque
you
to prove
got
it.
Right the first time.
You might want to walk around with that plaque on your chest, okay? Okay, could we have roll call on that, please?
Yes. Ed Brakefield.
Yes?
Do you know this familiarity with that? Yeah, okay. Linda Garrick.
Yes.
Laurie Fisher.
Yes.
Bennett, yes. Supervisor Pearson.
Yes. And that resolution passes. Now we will move on to item number 3, is the public hearing and resolution for amendments to the ordinance, Article 5, Finance and Resolution. This was presented in the 2 previous board meetings with the board consensus that it was good to go to the public hearing. There's been no changes since that time. This ordinance updates our finance ordinance to increase the authorized expenditure for the purchasing agent, add safeguards for the purchases, creates an entirely new section for the board approval without sealed bids and with sealed bids. It also deletes section 2-172, reference to the annual meeting. This is a public hearing where the board once again listens. And we will not speak, but we'll listen if anybody has any comments. And I will open up this public hearing at, we'll call it 6:12. If anybody has anything to add to this, please come forward and we'll listen. And I'll ask one more time, if anybody has anything to add, please come forward. Not seeing anybody come forward, I'd like to close this meeting at 6:14. The board, do you have any questions at this time?
I have a comment.
Yes.
This board might remember that I'm the one who really pushed this because you were having such a difficult time during the building of this, at this building. If it's possible, and this council has no problems, I would like to move forward with the draft resolution and make to adopt ordinance 16-2.
Okay, that's your motion to move
Yes.
forward?
Yes?
Do we have any seconds on that?
I'll support that.
Okay, do we have any discussion on it? If not, could I have a roll call on that, please?
Ed Brakefield.
Yes?
Linda Garrick.
Yes.
Laurie Fisher. Yes. Bennett, yes. Supervisor Pearson.
Yes. Resolution is so moved. We'll move on to item number 4. Approve the request of the fire department expenditure for 20 G1 pagers from Digicom Global for $9,289 from the Capital 204-304-974. Once again, Jerry did another good job in the processing and the request and the bids. Everything's in order. This was a budgeted item, and the fire board recommends the approval. They approve waiving the purchasing ordinance as only two providers, but there's only two providers, right? And both obtained the bids, right? So a motion is ordered to waive the purchasing order as there's no benefit. Anybody have any discussion on this?
I'll make
Chief,
that motion to waive the purchasing ordinance has no benefit.
I'll second it.
okay. Chief, you didn't have anything to add or anything on this? Pretty cut and dry? Okay. And so we had a motion and we had a second? Okay. Any other discussion? We'll need roll call on that.
Ed Brightfield.
Yes.
Lori Fisher. Yes. Linda Garrett.
Yes.
Bennett, yes. Supervisor Pearson.
Yes. That is passed. Okay, now we need a motion in order to approve the request for the fire department expenditure for the 20 G1 pagers from Digicom Global for $9,289 from the capital 204-304-974.
I would make that motion as Bruce stated.
I'll support.
Any other comments?
I've got a comment.
Yes.
Would you please tell Pauline to quit calling my name first?
It's your night.
It goes by alphabetical order, Ed.
Okay,
Oh, that
Bruce.
Okay. Can we have a roll call on that, please?
Ed
Brightfield,
Brightfield.
yes.
Lori Fisher.
Yes.
Linda Garrett.
Yes.
Bennett, yes. Supervisor Pearson.
Yes, that is approved. We'll move on to item number 5. Consensus for the Planning Commission to review and, if necessary, recommend an amendment to Article 13, Lake Lock District, specifically Section 13.03 and definition of lake area. Our practice as a board is to approve the discussion and possibly and the possible amendment to the zoning ordinance prior to the expenditure of the review. As for the Lake District, 13.03, we have many residents going to the Zoning Board of Appeals for relief of the 100-foot setback for the Health Department approval for, of course, septic systems. All cases are approved by the ZBA, and I think it's now time, right, for us and for the Planning Commission to review these zoning ordinances together with our legal and planner to see if these modifications can be made. And the issue comes up where we have a 50-foot variance from the lake, and the Health Department does, and we have a 100-foot variance from the lake. But with these new high-tech systems, Advantech and different things like that, it's not like it was in the old days. And so with these new systems, the Health Department, of course, is saying it can be closer, and everybody has to keep coming to the Zoning Board of Appeals, and of course, they are passing those. So to alleviate that problem, we're going to send this to the Planning Commission so that maybe they can get a remedy here. The second request has to do with land divisions to include in the lot area that the bottom lands cannot be included for the calculations to meet the minimum lot area. Does anybody have any comment on this?
I think it's good. I think it does need to go to the Planning Commission for a thorough discussion. And just for an example, this year we've had 3 cases at the ZBA, and all 3 were for this purpose, for the lake. If you go back from the year 2013 to 2016, we've had a total of 14 Zoning Board of Appeals cases. Out of the 14, 7 were for that variant. So I think it's important for the Planning Commission to check things out and reconsider.
Anybody else have any?
As far as the septic, is that what we're talking about right now? The first one was the setbacks for the septic?
Yes.
Yeah, just to discuss if you want to keep them at the
Well, we
PC.
did that back in February. We talked about it, and we had a consensus to pass it to this board, okay, that it was approved. The only question that came up during that time was Commissioner Sargent expressed concerns. Now jump to the end of it. It says there's a concern that if setback is changed, then there would be a septic system installed with county permits, which is the 50-foot. And there would be no oversight and inspection by Addison Township inspector. That was his only issue. And I believe our inspectors are good enough that they will be inspecting it. no matter what, but this was an issue that came to us already, and it was a consensus to move it to this board. If we send it back, it's just gonna be repeat on the
But it
septic.
has to be.
Has to go back?
This is what came out of the planning commission that Lawrence sent. And then Mr. Davis reviewed it, and he
Okay.
said that it would have to be an ordinance amendment. So
Okay.
this board can't do anything yet, so we're just kind of saying, planning commission, check it out and
And-
see what you come up with again. So
Okay.
maybe they'll take that, I don't know.
Sounds good.
Any further comments? Do we have any motions?
With all that, I'd like to make the motion that we send this back to the planning commission. Both issues.
I'll support what?
We have support? Any further comments? Not hearing any? We have roll call on that, please.
Ed Brakefield.
Yes.
Linda Garrett.
Yes.
Lori Fisher. Yes. Bennett, yes. Supervisor Pearson.
Yes. Okay, we'll move on to item number 6, which is the proposed amendment to the lawn service contract at the township. We have 2 existing lawn contracts, one for the township and one for the cemetery. And I'll just tell you, it was brought to my attention only because I went out and talked to the actual guy who cuts our grass out here. During the construction, we did not have the grass cut in the back because it was under construction. So the grass in the front was cut. But once the construction was done, I advised him that he had to start cutting the back of the building now, and also down at the ball field. The company said they couldn't do the ball field for us, so for a couple times I went down and took my own lawnmower, and I ended up getting a hold of the other company that does cemetery to do the actual cutting now, and he's now maintaining it, so I don't have to do that. But anyways, the baseball field, and we have Upper Labode Park, and we have the baseball field, which is Lower Labode, and then now we have all this area behind, okay? I asked both contractors to give me an estimate for the extra lawn at the township, and for the baseball field also. In reviewing the estimates, Sunrise Lawn Maintenance is lower for the additional space by $15 a cut, and the fee for the baseball field remains at the current fee of $45. Okay, so based on the bids received, I'd like to see the amended contract go to Sunrise Lawn Service for the remaining term of the current contract with immediate effect. And like I said, the other contract was going to charge us $45 to do the back here, and Sunrise is only going to charge us $30 to do the back, and to do the ball field, Sunrise is the only one that wanted to do it, so that's at $45. And those cuts are usually every other week. We do have the cuts in the front that are every week, and that will remain in the, I believe that's the contracted lawn service. So, does anybody have any comments on that?
They both do a fine job. I would think it's just based on the funding.
Well, we're saving money by having the same person who's unloading his equipment and doing the ball field. He might as well do the back if he's cheaper, and he's the only one that's willing to do the ball field. So I would suggest, so that I don't have to do it, that it would be a great idea.
So do
To go to Sunrise?
we
Yes,
need a motion?
yes.
Okay, what would the motion say, Pauline?
The motion would be to award the amended lawn service contract to Calvin Sotheby
Okay,
for the remaining term of his contract.
I would make that motion as you stated. We're repeating these over and over. I feel like-
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further comments? Not hearing any, can we have roll call, please?
Ed Brakefield.
Yes.
Linda Garrett.
Yes.
Lori Fisher. Yes. Bennett, yes. Supervisor Pearson.
Yes. And that passes. Okay, we'll move on to public forum. If anybody has anything in the public would like to come forward and address this township, we'd be glad to hear it.
Yeah, well, thank you, Ed, for your service. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Jerry.
Anybody else?
I'll miss Ed.
Yeah, you will miss a cold too. Just
Sit in the front.
Yeah, there you go.
heckle the
Have to come in and
board.
make sure we're doing everything right.
I could do that.
Anybody else in public forum? Well, I would like to welcome, we have two new trustees that are in the audience here. Jacob Newby is here, and I would like to welcome you. I did speak with you earlier, and it's a pleasure to have you here, and next month you'll be sitting right up here, okay? And the same thing with Joel King. It's a pleasure that you're here, and I know that we have a seat for you. I don't know how far we're going to put you over that corner or what, I'm not sure, but we will have a seat for you here, okay? Do we have name tags for him yet? Okay. Okay, you know, you guys have to bring the food and the pizza and everything next time. Yeah, it's just a routine thing, you know.
So Ed, you were voted in 96 then, right? The 96 year?
Yeah, I was a planning commissioner for 2 years before that, so
So 94 then.
way back when. That was
I was on the fire
before,
department, I
that was
joined in
before
94.
reading glasses.
Okay, we'll move on to Addison Township Board reports. Anything?
I don't really have a report, but I just want to say thank you for all your years of service, and
Thanks.
it's going to be different without you. We're going to miss you.
Yeah, don't cry now.
We're having a planning commission meeting. We're having a special planning commission meeting on the November the 1st,
Probably, yes.
so
Okay,
Site
put it on
plan.
your calendars. For the site plan for, yeah, Upland Hills.
okay. We'll move on to legal reports. Any legal reports? Okay, communications.
Yes, I think all of the board received one. PVN TV Incorporated sent in a letter. Basically, and I'm going to summarize it, but it is available at the township if anybody wants to read the entire package. It was offering our services as an alternative to your current public access television services from OCTV. And it's a few pages long, so it is available if anyone wants to read it.
Okay, we'll move on to supervisor's report. I just have a few people I'd like to thank here. If you notice, our sledding hill and our baseball field is starting to come together now. The man, as we're talking out there on the bulldozer, is Earl Karen. He was part of our Christmas in Action group, a volunteer. Mike Fritchie has loaned the bulldozer to us. TKMS Trucking Service and Lou's Trucking has donated all of the dirt that they're bringing out here. Earl Karen is running the bulldozer. He's a volunteer. I'd like to thank him a lot. He comes back 2 or 3 times a day as they bring dirt to start molding the hill. There's a Steve Hosner, one of our residents, lives right here on Rochester Road, went down and volunteered and removed, ground up all the stumps down at the ball field. And as you know, Phil Marshall went down and cut the trees out to make the field bigger. And we have Josh Shaner, who is the Eagle Scout, who's getting ready to put the ball field in. Things are starting to happen now, and it's a lot of work. I'd also like to thank Chief Morawski. The schoolhouse is almost finished now. We had Kevin, who lives on Curtis Road. I bought the preserver on for the inside of the schoolhouse, and he did that the last week, the whole interior. Chief Morawski now is doing the floor, volunteering to do that, and that will be started on Thursday, and then the schoolhouse will be done, and we'll start moving stuff into there. It's kind of hard to have a grand opening now because the road is so tore up and everything, so we might delay till the spring, but we are going to have a grand opening for the schoolhouse with all of the artifacts and the historical stuff to be put in there. And I did talk to Bob Gotkin. As you remember, Bob Gotkin is the very first time I took office, we were on our way to the Pollyant Trail, and he was there to introduce me. And as we passed the one-room schoolhouse, he said, you know, my family built that, and it's really a shame that it's scheduled to be burned. And it was his inspiration that got the township going to save the schoolhouse and move it. And I think you'll be really amazed when everybody gets to see how it has ended up. So we will have that. But anyways, I wanted to thank all of these people, all these volunteers. I mean, like I say, I don't understand why people run away from me when I start walking towards them, because all these people that are volunteers are ones I catch. Okay, just so you know, but I'm very appreciative of all that they do, and without all these people helping us, this township wouldn't be what it is. And Ed is another one, the schoolhouse, that was Ed's project. Bob Godkin is the one who said it was his family's, but it was Ed. Ed is the one who started the brochures, all of the funding, and he's the one that was there the day we started to move it. And,
Riding behind it,
pardon?
riding behind it.
Yes, and,
2 miles an hour.
yeah, I think.
Trying to figure out how we can
Were you
bail
the
out.
one that was playing the bagpipes all the way? I can't remember, but yes, and Ed, that will be something that, when we get to the grand opening, I want to make sure that, you know, you're there, because as you know, Bob Gotkins had a stroke, and, but he's doing much, much better. And, he lit up when I saw him this week and told him that we're gonna have a dedication and that he has to come in there and get all the memorabilia put into place, because it was his family, you know, that actually built the schoolhouse and everything. So, other than that, do I have a motion for adjournment?
Might as well make that motion since Pauline's called me on every one of them.
Okay.
I'll support.
Well, Ed, again, alphabetical order. All those in favor?
We'll tell everybody to stay for cake.
Yes. Stay for cake. We are having cake.
Supposed to be pizza at 6:30.
And we have pizza at 6:30 coming, okay?
Cool.
So we're gonna have a little party.
Pizza.
Yeah.
Pizza and cake.
We got party hats and everything for Ed.
To pass out to everybody.
No
So-
fuzzy navels.
So, anyway, stay around. We're gonna have some cake and we're gonna have some pizza,
Bob
so.
Davis's phone number.
All those in favor of adjourning the meeting? Ed, you can go first on this one.
I make that motion, and the answer is aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
And the ayes have it.
Are we going
That's the end of an era, Ed.
to wait for pizza, or are we
Yes.
gonna have cake first and then eat pizza?
Well, we can do
I guess
both.
we can have dessert first. It's your party.